and I'm thrilled to be with thousands of loyal, hardworking American patriots. 47 days from now, we're going to win Wisconsin, and we're going to win 4 more years in the White House. This is the most important election in the history of our country. I feel that way so strongly, so do you. Joe Biden devoted his entire career to offshoring Wisconsin jobs, outsourcing your factories, throwing open your borders, dragging us into endless, ridiculous foreign wars, and surrendering your children's future to China. You know what he's been doing? I just see he's up there tonight getting softball questions from Anderson Cooper. They don't ask me questions like that. And the audience isn't quite like this. You see what his audience, they've got cars. They have like cars in a bucket. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And CNN is going, oh, this is so beautiful. It's not beautiful. They have cars in a parking lot. What a deal, I'll tell you, what a deal. Biden supported every disastrous global sellout for half a century, including a NAFTA, China. You take a look at China's entry into the World Trade Organization and TPP. He supported them all. Biden surrendered your jobs to China, and you know that. I probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. It was one of the big things, one of the big reasons I decided to say to my great wife, our First Lady, let's go have some fun. Let's go have some fun. And she's done a great job and very popular, and the family is all over the place, all over the country. But unlike Joe, who let you down when he never even came back to Milwaukee to apologize or just to pay respects, I came to Wisconsin, and I've been here a lot since we started this. And you've been a tremendous beneficiary of what I've done, and I have too, because you've been with me, you've supported me, and we've had great victories together, all victories, so I want to thank you. But now, Biden wants to surrender our country to the violent left-wing mob. You see what's happened. If Biden wins, very simple, China wins. If Biden wins, the mob wins. If Biden wins, the rioters, anarchists, arsonists, and flag burners, they win. And we're not into flag burners. We don't like flag burners. I'd like to say pass a law, 1 year in jail, you start burning flags, we put you in jail for a year. We should do that. They would have done that. It's a different world, I guess, but it's sort of coming back to the way we have to have it because we're for law and order. They say don't use that term, it's too tough. No, everybody wants law and order. Minorities want law and order. Everybody wants law and order. They have to have it. I'm running for the re-election, and a very important re-election, to bring jobs and factories back, and that's a continuation because I don't know if you know it, the single greatest year Wisconsin has ever had was last year. The second best year that Wisconsin has ever had was the year before. And guess what the third was the year before that? And you're going to have your best year economically next year. It's all heading in that direction. Despite the pandemic given to us by China. But we want to put the violent criminals behind bars, and we have to ensure the future belongs to America, not to China, not to other very terrible forces out there. Because if we win, very simply, America wins, and that's what we want. We want this great country to win. Over the last 3.5 years, we've secured America's borders, fixed the disastrous trade deals. They have been the worst ever. It was not even, when I looked at these, I studied them, and I used to talk about them. They had to be bad. When I started studying, I said, who are the people that made these deals? Grossly incompetent people. Brought back our manufacturing jobs, rebuilt the awesome power of the U.S. military, and obliterated the ISIS caliphate. We obliterated it. Obama was not able to do it. He wasn't able to come close. It was just announced that in 2019, before the virus came in from China, we grew median income by a record of $4,400 in just 1 year, achieving the highest median income in U.S. history. That's in the history of our country. In the first 3 years, we lifted 6.6 million people out of poverty, the largest poverty reduction of any president in the history of our country. That's not bad. And I didn't even make these numbers up. These are numbers that they sound good to me. We built the greatest economy in the history of the world. This is the greatest economy in the history of the world. Then the virus came in. We closed it down. We saved millions and millions of lives. Would be at 2.5 million, 2 million, 3 million. A number that would not be sustainable, would not be acceptable, a horrible number. There shouldn't have been one person that died. It should have been stopped in China. They stopped it for their country, but it came out to us, to Europe, to the rest of the world, 188 countries. We will deliver a safe and effective vaccine before the end of the year, and it could be very, very soon. You've been seeing what's going on. It could be very, very soon. Could be... It's amazing how all of a sudden they hate the vaccine. When they thought it couldn't be done, they said, well, these kids got to get a vaccine. And then all of a sudden, they're looking like it's going to be very close. We're doing great. We're doing great with vaccines and therapeutics, remdesivir, all sorts of other things that are bringing the rates down like at numbers that nobody can believe. But we have 3 vaccines right now. They're in the final stage, clinical trials. We worked it for the FDA where they approved it fast. They were very fast, very quick, at levels that nobody else could have ever achieved. No other administration, certainly the last one, because the last one was grossly incompetent. In fact, that's why I'm here. Because if it was good, I wouldn't have run. If they did their job, I wouldn't have run. I was very happy in my other life. I was very happy, but I'm very happy in this life, more happy, because nobody has produced in 3.5 years, the first 3.5 years, nobody has done what we have been able to do. Nobody. So we'll defeat the virus, and next year will be truly, I think, from an economic standpoint and from other standpoints, maybe the best year of all. Hard to believe we're going so fast. The numbers have been incredible. We've had employment numbers the best ever. We've had retail sales numbers the best ever. You see them all, they come out every day. And our stock market is, for the most part, at a new high. And if people have 401ks, if you want to have your 401k go down like to depression levels, I think you should vote for Sleepy Joe, because he's going to raise your interest rates. He'll be raising your interest rates. You know, I watch him, though. He's denying all this stuff. You know, everything that he said, he's now denying. He said no fracking, right? There will be no fracking. He didn't know what fracking was, but he said there's no fracking. The reason is because everybody else, all of the radical left candidates up there, they couldn't get too far left. So Joe agreed. Then he gets the nomination. Now they're all angry, you know, that Crazy Bernie, all of the left Democrats, they don't want to vote for him anymore because he made promises, and now all of a sudden he forgot that he said no fracking. He said, well, now we can do some fracking. But, you know, remember this in politics. It's always the thing that they say first. That's what they're going to do. No guns, no religion, no energy, no oil. Remember that. Remember, he put Beto in charge of his gun policy, right, Beto? Crazy Beto. Remember when Beto went out, he said, I was born for this. And that's when it all came down. As soon as I heard that, anybody said they were born for this, it doesn't play well. But he's in charge of the Second Amendment, and you won't have a Second Amendment. Frankly, you wouldn't have a Second Amendment if I didn't get elected. It would have been obliterated, it would have been torn up, maybe it would have been totally knocked out. But there's tremendous pressure on your Second Amendment. As long as I'm here, you'll always have a Second Amendment. But I want to just say, you know, they do disinformation. They make up a phony story, and then they go with it. They make up a totally phony story. It's called disinformation. And one of the things, what they did, the worst of all, was the soldiers, because nobody loves our soldiers like I do.